The transport shuttle bucked through atmospheric turbulence as Devon Cross pressed his face against the viewport. Below him stretched an endless expanse of silver forests and crimson mountains, a world that had been abandoned for reasons no one could quite remember. Station Meridian hung in orbit above it like a watchful eye, its solar panels glinting in the light of the system's twin suns. Devon adjusted his worn leather jacket, a gift from his grandfather, who had been one of Earth's last wilderness guides. The jacket felt out of place here among the sleek uniforms and sterile corridors of modern space exploration, but Devon wore it anyway. Some traditions mattered, even thousands of light years from home. The shuttle docked with a metallic clang that echoed through the passenger cabin. Devon grabbed his equipment case and followed the handful of other new arrivals through the airlock. Station Meridian was smaller than he had expected, more research outpost than proper facility. The walls were covered with screens displaying data streams about the planet below, most of which Devon did not understand yet. A woman waited for him in the reception bay. She was tall and lean, with sun-weathered skin that spoke of time spent outdoors rather than in laboratories. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical braid, and her amber eyes studied him with an intensity that made Devon suddenly self-conscious. "You must be Devon Cross," she said, extending her hand. "I'm Cassidy Vale, senior xenozoologist. Welcome to the middle of nowhere." Her handshake was firm and confident. Devon found himself smiling despite his nervousness. "Thanks. I have been looking forward to this assignment for months." "Have you?" Cassidy raised an eyebrow. "Most people consider this posting a punishment. Nothing but rocks and readings, or so they say." "Then they are not looking hard enough," Devon replied. "Any world can teach us something if we pay attention." Something shifted in Cassidy's expression. The wariness in her eyes softened slightly. "You might actually survive here after all. Come on, let me show you around before Captain Hendricks traps you in a 3-hour briefing about protocols." The station tour took 20 minutes. Research labs, living quarters, observation decks. Everything was functional but worn, like a tool that had seen decades of steady use. Cassidy explained the basics as they walked. The planet below, officially designated Kepler 438d, but called Sanctuary by the small research team, had been surveyed 40 years ago and deemed unremarkable. No valuable minerals, no useful resources, nothing worth the cost of colonization. "So why are we here?" Devon asked as they reached the main observation deck. Cassidy moved to the large viewport and gazed down at the planet. 3 months ago, I detected energy readings from the southern continent. Not geological, not atmospheric. Something else entirely. Something that pulses with a rhythm too regular to be natural. Life signs? Maybe. Or maybe something that used to be alive. Cassidy turned to face him. The council approved a small expedition team to investigate. That's where you come in. Your background in tracking and wilderness survival makes you valuable down there, even if you have never tracked anything on an alien world before. Devon felt his heart rate quicken. This was what he had hoped for when he applied to the xenobiology program. Real fieldwork, real discovery. "When do we leave?" "Tomorrow at dawn station time. Get some rest. The descent can be rough and I need you sharp." Cassidy headed for the exit, then paused. "One more thing. Whatever we find down there, keep an open mind. The galaxy is stranger than we admit in our official reports." That night, Devon lay in his assigned quarters staring at the ceiling. Sleep would not come. His mind kept returning to Cassidy's words and the way she had looked at him when she said them. Like she knew something he did not. Like she was testing him somehow. The next morning arrived quickly. Devon met Cassidy in the shuttle bay where a small exploration craft waited. Captain Hendricks was there too, a stocky man with gray hair and the bearing of someone who had spent too long following regulations. "Remember," Hendricks said as they prepared to board, "you are there to observe and record only. No direct interaction with any life forms. No deviation from the approved survey route. And if anything seems dangerous, you abort immediately." "Understood, sir," Cassidy replied with a tone that suggested she had heard this speech many times before. The descent through Sanctuary's atmosphere was as rough as promised. The shuttle rattled and shook while Devon gripped his seat restraints and tried not to look nervous. Cassidy piloted with casual expertise, guiding them through cloud layers that glowed with strange phosphorescence. They landed in a clearing surrounded by those silver forests Devon had seen from orbit. The trees, if they could be called trees, rose hundreds of feet high with trunks that seemed to shimmer and shift in the sunlight. The air tasted clean and slightly sweet when Devon removed his helmet to test it. Breathable, Cassidy confirmed, checking her scanner. The readings are stronger here. About 3 kilometers northeast. We should reach the source before nightfall. They hiked through terrain that felt both alien and oddly familiar. The undergrowth crunched beneath their boots like dry leaves, and creatures that might have been birds or might have been something else entirely called to each other in the canopy above. Devon found himself relaxing into old patterns, reading the land the way his grandfather had taught him. After 2 hours, Cassidy stopped abruptly. Devon nearly walked into her. "What is it?" he asked. She pointed ahead where the forest opened into a rocky canyon.
"There, do you see it?"
Devon followed her gaze and felt his breath catch. Carved into the canyon wall was a massive entrance, easily 50 feet high and 30 wide. The stone around it bore markings that might have been natural erosion or might have been something more deliberate. "That was not in any survey report," Devon whispered. "No," Cassidy agreed. "It was not." They approached carefully, weapons drawn more out of habit than expectation of danger. The entrance led into darkness that their flashlights could barely penetrate. The markings on the walls became clearer as they went deeper. Not random patterns after all, but symbols. Letters in a style that made Devon's skin prickle with recognition. "These look almost like old Earth script," he said, running his fingers over the carved stone. "But that's impossible. Humans have only been in this sector for 30 years. Cassidy was examining another set of markings further in. Her face had gone pale. "Devon, we need to see what is at the end of this tunnel. Should we call the station first?" "No, not yet. Trust me on this." They moved deeper. The tunnel sloped downward gradually, opening into a vast chamber that took Devon's breath away. The ceiling soared hundreds of feet overhead, supported by natural pillars of stone. But it was what rested in the center of the chamber that made Devon forget how to breathe. A creature lay sleeping on a raised platform of smooth rock. It was enormous, easily the size of the shuttle they had flown down in. 6 limbs folded beneath a body covered in scales that gleamed like polished obsidian. Wings tattered and ancient draped across its sides. The head was reptilian but elegant, with swept-back horns and a jaw that could have swallowed a manhole. "What is that?" Devon managed to ask. "Proof," Cassidy whispered. She moved closer, seemingly unafraid. "Proof that the legends were true. Humans did not evolve alone, Devon. We had companions once. Partners. Before the Great War that scattered us across the galaxy and made us forget." "That's crazy." "There is no record of any such thing in human history." "Official history," Cassidy corrected. "But some of us kept searching, kept believing the old stories our ancestors passed down. Stories of humans who bonded with creatures like this, who flew through skies on their backs, who understood them on a level deeper than words." Devon wanted to argue, to call for the shuttle to follow protocol, but something about the sleeping creature called to him. Without fully understanding why, he took a step forward. Then another. "Devon, wait," Cassidy said, but she did not try to stop him. He climbed onto the platform and approached the massive head. Up close, he could see the creature was breathing, each inhalation slow and deep. The scales were not cold stone, but something that pulsed with faint warmth, ancient beyond measure but alive. Devon reached out and placed his palm against the side of the creature's neck. The world exploded into light and sensation. Images flooded his mind. Cities that predated recorded history, humans and creatures like this one living side by side. A war that tore everything apart. A desperate plan to hide the creatures in stasis, waiting for humans to rediscover them when the time was right. The creature's eyes opened. They glowed with amber light, intelligent and aware. It raised its massive head and looked directly at Devon, not with threat or aggression, but with something that felt impossibly like recognition. "Hello?" Devon whispered, not knowing if the creature could understand. "My name is Devon. I think I have been looking for you my whole life without knowing it." The creature made a sound, low and resonant, that vibrated through Devon's chest. Then it lowered its head until its snout rested gently against Devon's chest, right over his heart. The gesture was unmistakable. Acceptance, acknowledgement, bond. Behind him, Cassidy's voice shook with emotion. "His name is Vorath, and Devon, you just changed the galaxy forever." Devon could not move. Vorath's massive head rested against his chest with surprising gentleness, and through that contact flowed sensations Devon had no words to describe. Not quite thoughts, not quite emotions, but something in between. a conversation happening on a level far deeper than language. Cassidy approached slowly, her scanner forgotten in her hand. "Devon, can you hear me?" "Yes," he managed to say, though his voice sounded distant to his own ears. "But I can also hear him, feel him. Cassidy, he has been waiting here for 50,000 years, waiting for someone to wake him. Waiting for you specifically?" Devon shook his head, trying to process the flood of impressions coming through the bond. "Not me exactly. Any human who carried the right genetic markers. The ones that marked the ancient bondkeepers. The ones who could understand them." He looked at Cassidy with wonder in his eyes. "You were right about everything. Humans and these creatures lived together once. We were partners in ways that made both species stronger." Vorath raised his head and made that deep rumbling sound again. This time Devon understood it carried meaning. Curiosity. Question. The creature wanted to know about the world outside this chamber, the millennia that had passed while he slept. "How do I show him?" Devon asked Cassidy. "How do I explain everything that has happened?" "The bond works both ways," Cassidy said softly. "If you can feel his thoughts, he can probably feel yours. Just think about what you want to share." Devon closed his eyes and tried. He thought about Earth, about humanity spreading to the stars, about the Galactic Council and the dozens of alien species that now lived and worked together. He thought about Station Meridian orbiting overhead and the life he had lived before this moment. Vorath responded with images of his own. A world covered in cities where humans and creatures like him lived in harmony. Hatchlings playing with human children in gardens that floated among the clouds. Warriors of both species fighting side by side against threats Devon could not quite comprehend. And then fire. War. A decision made in desperation to hide the creatures away until humans could rediscover what they had lost. "We need to report this," Devon said, breaking the connection reluctantly. "The council needs to know." "No." Cassidy's voice was sharp. "Devon, think about what you are saying. The council will see Vorath as a resource to be controlled or a threat to be contained. They will never understand what he truly is. We cannot just hide him. This is the most important xenobiological discovery in history. It is more than that, and you know it." Cassidy moved between Devon and the chamber exit. "This is not just about science. The moment the council learns about Vorath, they will send ships. They will send soldiers. They will take him away and lock him in some facility to be studied and tested. Is that what you want for him?" Devon looked back at Vorath. The creature watched them with those intelligent amber eyes, understanding the conflict even if he could not follow every word. Through the bond, Devon felt Vorath's emotions. Not fear exactly, but wariness. A desire for freedom after so many centuries of sleep. "Then what do we do?" Devon asked. Before Cassidy could answer, her communicator crackled to life. Captain Hendrick's voice filled the chamber. "Vale Cross, report your status. You missed your scheduled check-in 20 minutes ago." Cassidy and Devon exchanged glances. She activated the communicator. "Sorry, Captain. We found some interesting geological formations and lost track of time. Everything is fine." "Geological formations that made you miss a mandatory check-in? That does not sound like you, Vale." "Just being thorough, sir. We will head back to the shuttle within the hour." There was a pause before Hendricks responded. "Acknowledged. But I am sending a security team to your location anyway. Protocol requires it after a missed check-in. They will meet you at your shuttle." The communicator clicked off. Cassidy cursed under her breath. "We have maybe 90 minutes before armed personnel arrive. Not enough time to hide a creature the size of a small building." "Why would we hide him?" Devon asked. "Cassidy, what are you not telling me?" She turned to face him fully. 3 years ago, I was part of a council expedition to another abandoned world. We found evidence of the ancient bondkeepers there too. Ruins, texts, genetic samples. I tried to report it properly through official channels. Do you know what happened? The council classified everything. They sealed the site and transferred everyone on the team to different assignments across the galaxy. They scattered us so we could not compare notes or continue our research. Why would they do that? Because the idea of humans having a special connection to powerful creatures threatens their sense of order. The council likes to believe all species are essentially equal, just at different technological levels. But if humans once bonded with beings like Vorath, if that partnership made both species stronger, then it challenges their entire worldview. Some species have been in the council for thousands of years and never developed anything like that. Devon processed this information while Vorath watched them both. The creature shifted his weight and the ground trembled slightly beneath his mass. So what are you proposing? That we smuggle a dragon off this planet somehow? Dragon, Cassidy repeated with a small smile. I like that. Better than the clinical terms the old texts used. Her expression turned serious again. And yes, that is exactly what I am proposing. There are people, Devon. Humans who have been searching for proof of the bond keepers for generations. They have resources, hidden facilities, ways to move unseen by the Council. I can contact them. That sounds dangerously close to treason. Or it sounds like protecting something precious from those who would not understand its value. Cassidy moved closer to him. I know this is overwhelming. I know you came here expecting a simple research assignment. But Devon, you felt the bond. You know what Vorath is. Can you really hand him over to people who will treat him like a specimen? Through the bond, Devon felt Vorath's trust. The creature had chosen to accept him, to open that ancient connection. That meant something. It meant everything. How would we even move him? Devon asked, which was not quite agreement but was not refusal either. Cassidy pulled up a holographic map from her scanner. There are cave systems throughout this entire region. They connect to areas far from any surveyed zones. If Vorath can travel through them, we can lead him to a location where a ship could extract him without being detected by station sensors. If he can travel. Cassidy, look at him. He has been asleep for 50 millennia. Can he even walk? As if in answer, Vorath rose to his feet. The movement was slow and stiff, but there was power in it. He stretched each of his 6 limbs in turn, then extended his wings. The membranes were torn in places, aged and fragile, but the bone structure remained strong. He would not be flying anytime soon, but walking seemed possible. Devon felt a surge of determination through the bond. Vorath wanted freedom. He wanted to see the sky again, to feel wind and sunlight. And more than that, he wanted to find others of his kind. The images that flowed through their connection showed other chambers, other sleeping guardians waiting for their human partners to wake them. There are more of them, Devon said in wonder, scattered across different worlds, all sleeping. All waiting. I suspected as much, Cassidy replied. The ancient bond keepers would not have hidden just one. They would have tried to save as many as possible. She checked her chronometer. We have maybe an hour before that security team arrives. We need to make a choice, Devon, right now. Do we protect Vorath or do we hand him over? Devon looked at the creature who had bonded with him. Through their connection, he felt no judgment, no pressure. Just patient waiting. Vorath would accept whatever decision Devon made because that was the nature of the bond. Trust absolute. But Devon also felt something else. A rightness to this moment that he could not explain. His whole life he had felt slightly out of place in the modern galaxy. Too interested in old ways, too connected to Earth's wild past. His grandfather used to say Devon was born in the wrong era, that he belonged to a time when humans still understood the language of beasts. Maybe his grandfather had been more right than either of them knew. We protect him, Devon said firmly. But Cassidy, if we do this, we are not just smuggling one creature off the planet. We have to commit fully, find the others, wake them, rebuild what was lost. Cassidy smiled, and for the first time since they met, Devon saw genuine joy in her expression. I was hoping you would say that. Come on, we need to get moving. They led Vorath toward the back of the chamber where Cassidy's scans had detected the cave system. The creature moved with increasing confidence as his ancient muscles remembered their purpose. Despite his size, he navigated the tunnels with surprising grace, his scales scraping softly against stone walls. How long have you been planning this? Devon asked as they walked. Really? Since the moment I detected energy readings from this planet, Cassidy admitted. I knew what it meant. I just needed the right person to wake the Guardian. Someone pure enough in intent that the bond would form properly. And you thought that was me? We just met yesterday. I reviewed your file before you arrived. Your psychological profile, your background, your genetic markers. You are a direct descendant of one of the ancient bond-keeper lines, Devon. The Council does not track that information, but some of us do. You were perfect for this. Devon did not know whether to feel manipulated or honored. You took a huge risk. I could have reported everything the moment I saw Vorath. But you did not. Cassidy glanced back at him in the dim tunnel. Because you understood what he is. What you are together. That is not something I could have predicted with certainty, but I hoped. They emerged from the caves into a different canyon system, miles from where they had started. The twin suns hung low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. Vorath lifted his head and breathed deeply, tasting freedom for the first time in ages beyond counting. Through the bond, Devon felt the creature's overwhelming emotion. Not quite joy, not quite relief, but something profound and pure. This was what Vorath had dreamed of during his long sleep. Sky and space and purpose renewed. Cassidy activated her communicator, but on a different frequency than before. "This is Vale, packages secured. Request extraction at coordinates I am sending now." A voice Devon did not recognize responded. "Confirmed. Extraction ship will arrive in 6 hours. Can you remain hidden until then?" "We will manage." The communicator went silent. Cassidy looked at Devon. "There is no going back after this. The moment that ship takes Vorath, we are committed. The Council will classify us as criminals. We will be hunted." "I know." Devon placed his hand on Vorath's neck, feeling the warmth of scales and the pulse of ancient life. "But we will also be free, and we will have a purpose that matters more than any official assignment ever could. Finding the others, and protecting them. Making sure the bond between humans and these creatures is never lost again." Devon smiled. "My grandfather used to tell me that some things are worth any price. I think I finally understand what he meant." They settled in to wait, hidden in a cave mouth that overlooked the canyon. Vorath curled his body around both humans, providing warmth as the temperature dropped with nightfall. Through their bond, Devon felt the creature's contentment. For the first time in millennia, Vorath was not alone. Neither was Devon. Cassidy leaned against his shoulder, and he did not pull away. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for trusting me, for trusting him." "Thank you for finding me," Devon replied. "I spent my whole life feeling like something was missing. Now I know what it was." Above them, stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere among those distant lights, more guardians slept. More humans waited without knowing what they were waiting for. The ancient bond was broken but not destroyed, and Devon Cross, wildlife biologist and descendant of bond keepers, had just taken the first step toward healing it. The extraction ship arrived precisely on time, descending through Sanctuary's atmosphere with running lights dark and engines dampened. It was smaller than Devon expected, barely large enough to hold Vorath, but Cassidy assured him the pilot was the best in this sector at avoiding detection. "His name is Finch," she explained as they watched the ship settle onto the canyon floor. "Former Council military. Retired after he started asking too many questions about classified sites. He has been helping people like us for years." The loading ramp extended and a man emerged. He was older than Devon, maybe 50, with silver in his dark hair and the kind of weathered face that came from decades in space. He took one look at Vorath and let out a low whistle. "Well," Finch said, "Cassidy told me the package was large, but I was not expecting magnificent. Hello there, gorgeous." Vorath tilted his head, studying the newcomer with those amber eyes. Through the bond, Devon felt the creature's assessment. Not threat, potential friend, someone who understood the value of what Vorath represented. "Can your ship really carry him?" Devon asked. "She can carry anything if you load it right and do not mind a bumpy ride. Come on, let us get your friend aboard before Station Meridian realizes you have been gone too long." Loading Vorath took careful coordination. The creature had to fold his limbs and wings tightly to fit through the cargo bay doors. Devon stayed connected through the bond the entire time, providing reassurance. This was safe. These humans could be trusted. Freedom waited on the other side of this temporary confinement. Once Vorath was secured, Cassidy turned to Devon. "Last chance to back out. Once we leave this planet, the Council will know something happened. They will investigate. Your name will be on a list." "Good," Devon replied. "Let them investigate. Maybe it will make them ask the right questions about what else they have been hiding." They boarded the ship and Finch sealed the ramp. The cockpit was cramped but functional, filled with screens and controls that looked older than Devon but clearly worked perfectly. Finch's hands moved over the instruments with practiced ease. "Hang on," he warned. "I'm taking us up fast and low. Station sensors are not great, but they are not blind either." The ship lifted with a surge that pressed Devon into his seat. Through a viewport, he watched the canyon fall away below them. Then they were racing through Sanctuary's atmosphere, skimming just above the cloud layer at speeds that made the hull groan in protest. "Will Station Meridian see us?" Cassidy asked. "Maybe," Finch admitted. "But by the time they identify us as anything other than a sensor ghost, we will be gone. I have friends who can mask our jump signature. The Council will know someone left the planet, but they will not know where we went. Devon felt Vorath's discomfort through the bond. The creature did not like being enclosed, did not like the vibration of engines and the artificial sensation of motion. Devon sent calming thoughts back. Soon they would reach open space. Soon there would be room to move. They broke atmosphere and suddenly stars filled every viewport. Finch adjusted their trajectory, aiming for a point in space that looked empty but apparently held a hidden jump gate. 5 minutes to the gate. Then we are gone. Where are we going? Devon asked. A facility called Haven, Cassidy explained. It is not on any official charts. A small group of us have been building it for 10 years, preparing for the day when we finally found proof of the ancient bond. It is a safe place, Devon. A place where Vorath can be free while we figure out our next steps. An alarm started blaring from the control panel. Finch cursed and checked his sensors. We have company. 3 Council patrol ships just dropped out of hyperspace behind us. Someone at that station was paying closer attention than I thought. Through the viewport, Devon could see distant lights accelerating toward them. The patrol ships were fast, built for intercepting smugglers and pirates. Finch's vessel was built for stealth, not speed. Can we make it to the gate? Cassidy asked, her voice tense. Maybe. If they do not shoot us first. Finch pushed the engines harder. The ship shook with the strain. They are hailing us, demanding we stop for inspection. Do not stop, Devon said firmly. Through the bond, he felt Vorath's agitation growing. The creature sensed danger, sensed enemies approaching. Ancient instincts stirred, ones bred for protection and defense. I was not planning to, Finch replied. But those ships have weapons and we do not. This might get rough. Energy blasts lanced past them, warning shots designed to intimidate rather than destroy. The Council wanted them intact, wanted whatever cargo they carried. That gave them a slight advantage, but not much. 30 seconds to the gate, Finch announced. More energy blasts, these closer. One struck their rear shielding and the ship lurched. Warning lights flashed across every panel. They were not going to make it. Devon felt Vorath's decision through the bond before the creature acted. A surge of ancient power, older than human civilization, older than most species in the galaxy. Vorath was not just a beast. He was a guardian, bred and bonded for one purpose above all others. Protect. The cargo bay doors blew open. Safety protocols should have prevented that, but Vorath's strength overrode them easily. The creature launched himself into space, his body adapting instantly to the vacuum in ways that defied every rule of biology Devon had ever learned. What is he doing? Finch shouted over the alarm sirens. Devon could only watch in amazement as Vorath spread his wings. They caught something, solar radiation or cosmic winds or forces Devon did not have names for. The creature positioned himself between their ship and the pursuing Council vessels. The patrol ship slowed, confused. Their sensors had to be going crazy trying to classify what they were seeing. A creature in open space, alive and moving with clear purpose. Impossible by all known science. Vorath opened his jaws and light poured out. Not fire, though it resembled it. Pure energy, drawn from some internal source that the ancient bondkeepers had cultivated over generations. The beam struck the lead patrol ship's forward shields and overloaded them instantly. The ship went dark, all systems temporarily offline from the electromagnetic pulse. Get us through the gate, Devon said. Now. Finch did not need to be told twice. The ship leaped forward, crossing the final distance to the hidden jump gate. Behind them, Vorath turned and followed with powerful beats of his wings. The other 2 patrol ships were backing off, unwilling to face whatever this creature was without reinforcements. They plunged through the gate, and reality twisted. Jump space always felt wrong to Devon, like being turned inside out and stretched across 1,000 dimensions simultaneously. But this time he had Vorath's presence in his mind, steady and sure. The creature had done this before, millennia ago. Space travel was not new to his kind. They emerged in a different system entirely, far from Council shipping lanes. A small station hung in orbit around a blue gas giant, barely more than a collection of modules connected by flexible corridors. Haven Finch guided them into the station's single docking bay. As soon as they were secured and atmosphere had been restored to the bay, the cargo doors opened properly this time and Vorath emerged. The creature stretched each limb in turn, clearly relieved to have space again. A dozen humans waited to greet them. Men and women of various ages all watching Vorath with expressions of awe and wonder. These were the believers, Devon realized. The ones who had kept searching when everyone else said the legends were false. An elderly woman stepped forward. She moved slowly, supported by a cane, but her eyes were sharp and bright. "I am Dr. Helena Cross," she said, "and I have been waiting my entire life to meet a guardian." Devon's heart skipped. "Cross, are we related?" "You are my grandson's grandson," Helena replied with a warm smile. "Your grandfather was my son. He knew about the bond keepers, Devon. He taught you everything he could without drawing council attention. He prepared you for this even if neither of you knew exactly what this would be." Everything clicked into place. His grandfather's stories about humanity's partnership with beasts. The old traditions he insisted on maintaining. The way he always said Devon was special, meant for something more. It had not been vague encouragement. It had been preparation. "He knew," Devon whispered. "He suspected," Helena corrected, "as did I. We are part of a network that has preserved the old knowledge through generations, waiting for the day when the Guardians would wake." She looked at Vorath with tears in her eyes, and now that day has come. Cassidy put her hand on Devon's shoulder. "There is something else you need to know. We have located 14 other sites where Guardians are sleeping, 14 more creatures waiting for their human partners. The Council has been suppressing this information, but we have been gathering it anyway." 14, Devon repeated, stunned. "That we know of," an older man added. "There could be more. The ancient bond keepers hid them well." Through his connection with Vorath, Devon felt the creature's joy. Not alone, after all. Others survived. Others waited. The species was not extinct, just sleeping. "We need to wake them," Devon said. "All of them." "That is exactly what we intend to do," Helena replied. "But it will not be easy. The Council will be hunting us now. They saw what Vorath can do. They will want to capture him, study him, possibly weaponize him. We need to be smart about this. And we need to find the right partners for each Guardian," Cassidy added. "Not just anyone can form the bond. It requires genetic compatibility and the right temperament. We have been identifying candidates for years, but they are scattered across dozens of worlds." Devon looked at the assembled group, then at Vorath, standing magnificent and alive in the docking bay. This was bigger than him now. This was about rebuilding something the galaxy had lost, about proving that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or weapons, but partnership, connection, the ability to form bonds that transcended species. "Then we have work to do," Devon said. "Let us start by making sure Haven is truly safe. Then we plan how to reach those other sites, how to wake the other Guardians, how to find their partners." Helena smiled proudly. "Your grandfather would be very proud of you." Over the following days, Devon learned the full extent of what Helena's network had built. Haven was just one of several hidden facilities. They had resources, ships, contacts throughout the galaxy. Everything needed to operate outside Council oversight. Vorath adapted to his new environment quickly. The creature spent hours each day in the observation dome, staring out at the stars. Through their bond, Devon understood. Vorath was searching, reaching out with senses humans did not possess, looking for the others, calling to them across the void, and incredibly, some of them were answering. Faint pulses of awareness from distant worlds. The Guardians were beginning to wake on their own, responding to Vorath's call. Nature finding a way as it always did. "It is happening faster than we expected," Cassidy said one evening as she and Devon watched Vorath in the dome. "The Guardians are connected somehow. When one wakes, it signals the others, which means we need to reach them before the Council does," Devon replied. "If patrol ships detected what happened at Sanctuary, they will be investigating every abandoned world in the sector. We have teams ready to deploy. But Devon, they need you. Your bond with Vorath, the way you two connected so quickly and completely, it proves the ancient ways still work. Other potential bond keepers need to see that it is possible." Devon understood what she was asking. He and Vorath would have to leave Haven, travel to these distant worlds, help others form their own bonds. It would be dangerous. The Council was looking for them. But it was also necessary. "When do we leave?" he asked. "Tomorrow," Cassidy replied. Then she added more quietly, "I am coming with you, if that is acceptable." Devon looked at her. This woman who had changed his life in a matter of days, who had trusted him with the greatest secret humanity possessed, who had risked everything to protect Vorath. Somewhere along the way, his feelings for her had grown into something deeper than partnership. "It is more than acceptable," he said. "I need you with us, Cassidy." "Both of us do." She smiled and took his hand. "Good, because I was coming anyway." That night, Devon stood with Vorath in the observation dome, gazing out at the galaxy. Somewhere out there, 14 more Guardians waited. 14 more humans would form bonds that their species had forgotten. The beginning of something new, or perhaps the restoration of something very old. Through his connection with Vorath, Devon felt the creature's contentment. This was right. This was how things were meant to be. Humans and Guardians together again as they had been in ages past, as they would be in ages to come. "We will find them all," Devon promised. "Every last one, and the galaxy will remember what it means when humans and Guardians stand together." Vorath rumbled his agreement, the sound vibrating through Devon's entire body. It was a promise and a challenge and a declaration of hope all at once. The ancient bond was broken no longer, and the flight to freedom had only just begun.